everyone, welcome back. Today on my channel we're going to be doing a basic white bread in my bread machine, but today I'm going to let it do the dough cycle and then I'm going to take it out and put it in my loaf pans. I've never let the bread machine do the dough cycle and then bake it in the oven in my own loaf pans. So we're going to try that today and see how it turns out. I've heard the crust is a little different, so we'll see if there is a difference. If you're new here, I would love to have you be a part of my YouTube family. So hit that red subscribe button. Always give me a thumbs up and hit the bell icon so you're notified of every video I upload. Now let's get into making the bread recipe. Okay, I brought you in closer. Let's start putting in our ingredients. The paddle is attached. The first ingredient I'm going to add is 1 2/3 cup of warm water. The next ingredient is 2 tablespoons of softened, I melted it a little bit, butter. Then 2.5 tablespoons of sugar. 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Then we're going to be adding our bread flour. I have a scale and I'm going to weigh it. So 450 grams. Okay, so I weighed out my flour to 450 grams, and I'm interested to see how much exactly that left in there. Because it had said 3 3/4 cups. So let me just see. There's 1, 2. It's always interesting to see really how much the measurements come out to. That's 3. That's 1/4. Not quite 3 1/2. And then the last ingredient would be our yeast. And we're going to be using the bread machine yeast. 2 teaspoons. So I'm interested to see, make a little hole right there. I'm interested to see how this does with measuring the flour in grams on a scale, converting them to grams. We're going to put this on the dough cycle and bake them in the oven to see what they turn out like. Choose the dough cycle and start. So in 1.5 hours, our dough will be ready. Pretty interesting. I added flour, so it made it 3 1/2 cups. Okay, the bread went off. The dough cycle went off. Ooh, looks good. Look at that. Ooh, so nice. Let's move this out of the way. Gonna dump it out. Get my paddle out of there. Punch it down a little bit. It's a little sticky. Grabbed a little flour. Just a touch. I don't want to add too much. Press it down. Get some of the air out of it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as a carbon steel pan. It's a non-stick. I got a set of 2 off of Amazon. They're called, I wrote it down, QELEG, is the brand. It's supposed to be nonstick. I'm going to put part of it in there, and then I've got just a regular loaf, tin loaf, aluminum, but I got it lined with parchment paper. So we're going to try half and half. This is quite a bit smaller. You can use this for cheesecake and some other stuff it was saying. So I'm going to put that in there just like that. So I'm going to pull, make it about 1/3 and 2/3, I think, what I'm going to do. So I'm going to make this form a loaf. Some people roll theirs out and then roll it up. And I'm just going to kind of form, kind of tuck, and get it to where the top is nice and smooth. And that's what I'm going to put in my pan. I'm going to drop that one in there. And then this one, a little bit smaller. I want my top to be smooth, so tuck this all under here. That's pretty smooth, little air bubble. And I'm going to place that one right in the pan with no parchment paper, nothing. So we're going to see if it's really nonstick. Okay, so I'm going to cover these. I'm going to let it sit over there near my stove. I'm going to start to preheat my stove to 350. When they're done rising, I'll probably bake them for about 25 minutes. I'll check on them. So I'm going to get these over there and let them start rising again. Okay, I think we're about ready to go in the oven. It's rose, and I think they look good. I'm probably at about maybe 30 minutes rise time. So we're going in. Now just got out of the oven, taking a little butter, brushing it on, and we're gonna let it sit in the pan for about 10 minutes before we dump them out, and then we're gonna cool them completely before we cut them. I am not gonna be tempted to cut them. Well, let me rephrase that. I'm always tempted to cut them straight out of the oven. You just have to smell them. But I'm not going to this time. I'm going to totally let them cool off before we cut them. But they're looking and smelling so delicious. Okay, we have our loaves. They're cooled off. And they feel so soft. This is one of the softest sandwich breads I've made. So let's cut one up. Oh, and this one in that green pan that comes in a set of 2 off Amazon. It's like $17. Came right out. Pan clean. Didn't put no grease, shortening, nothing in it. So wonderful. So let's slice it up and see what we have. Oh, geez. It's so soft. Oh, yes. Wow. I am excited. This is going to be my new recipe, I believe, for sandwich bread for sure. Wow. Look at that. You can bend it, doesn't crack. Now let's give it a taste. Okay, here we go. Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I'm not joking. This is the best bread recipe for sandwich bread that I've made yet. And I don't know if it's because it baked in the oven, but I really believe it is. The crumb on it, the crust is is like you get in the grocery store. It's not that thick, heavy crust like in a bread machine. Oh, it's delicious. Oh, if you could just taste it and smell it, please try this recipe. It's so wonderful. So this is the recipe I'm going to be using. I will have it linked in the description box, all the measurements that I specifically used. And I'll also link the pans, these oval pans from Amazon. I might not actually link them. I'm new at this, so I'm not quite sure how to do that yet, but I'll definitely put the name of them and the model number, whatever I can find, and put it in the description box below. So I really hope you try this recipe. And until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Bye. I can't stop eating it. It is awesome.